Attention personal training departments. This episode is for you. We are excited to focus an entire episode on helping you to improve your business and skill set. Our industry expert is here to pump you up and take you to the next level. Stay tuned for this week's episode from the Fitness Business Podcast. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome to the Fitness Business Podcast family. Make sure you go to fitnessbusinesspodcast.com where you can listen to our entire catalog of shows. There are over 400 shows to choose from, so happy listening. Now, if you're a regular listener, I want to say thank you. We really appreciate you coming back week after week. And finally, if you would share about an episode or a guest on iTunes as a review, we would greatly appreciate it. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. I am your host, Dory Nugent, and functional movement specialist Michael Hughes is my guest today. Michael delivers a stellar episode entitled 7 Things Elite Trainers Should Know How to Do. Michael is the founder of Gymnazo, a 7-figure functional training facility located in California. Did you know that his facility ranks in the top 5% of American like-sized gyms for revenue? This is why Michael is our industry expert today. In less than 2 minutes, we will begin our episode. First, I want to say thank you to ISSA for supporting the podcast.
Health club leaders, you work hard to ensure your members have the very best fitness experience, right? You need personal trainers who do the same. Become a preferred partner with ISSA, and we'll deliver the best trainers in the industry to your club in a matter of days, fully certified and ready to work. And we'll help you keep those trainers by offering them exclusive discounted pricing on ISSA certifications. Because when your trainers stay, so do your valued members. Becoming a preferred partner with ISSA is absolutely free. Click above or visit issaonline.com/fitbiz to get trainers now.
Just an FYI, ISSA offers a nutrition certification that is actually one of their most popular certifications. For more information and to learn more about the variety of certifications that ISSA offers, check them out at issaonline.com.
Get your pen ready now for Keep Me's Fit Bizpiration.
Hey, Michael, I'd love for you to give us your 3 tips to instilling these 7 skills into a team.
First tip, get a coach to mentor you. Athletes need coaches, and coaches need coaches. Second thing, don't be afraid to try something new, knowing that you're going to miss the mark, if not fail, if not cause someone some more dysfunction for the sake of your betterment and the long-term success of that client. The third, don't practice in isolation. You have to join a community, whether it be virtual or not, of other trainers looking to push the boundaries and educational capacity of this industry.
Next week, we have a cover girl delivering our episode. That's right. Andrea Bell comes to the Fitness Business Podcast. Andrea is on the cover of this month's issue of Club Business International magazine. And she was gracious enough to come onto the podcast to talk about the Deloitte report and her vision as the new chair for Global Health and Fitness Alliance. After this week's episode, I'll introduce you to Andrea and you'll get a glimpse into her episode.
This podcast is brought to you by Hapana. Hapana is a cutting-edge membership management solution prioritizing insane engagement. Hapana puts your brand first so you can facilitate deep, meaningful connections with clients and members to book, pay, consume content, and build community. Hapana partners with fitness brands in both the boutique and big box segments that want to drive efficient operations and maximum engagement with clients and members. And they do this by providing direct world-class support with a passionate team who cares about your success. To see how you can transform your brand, go to Hapana.com and ask for a demonstration. Hapana, engineered for engagement.
Okay, FBP family, let's get started with today's episode. FBP family, please help me welcome Michael Hughes to the Fitness Business Podcast today. Michael is a functional movement specialist, and he's also the CEO of Gymnazo EDU. Michael, welcome. Thanks for coming on today.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
So we brought you on today. We loved your topic. We thought it was creative, fresh, and new, and definitely also something that would be very helpful to our FBP family out there. And that is 7 skills an elite trainer needs to master. Interesting topic. I can't wait to dive into it.
Oh, happy to.
All right.
Ready?
Yeah, I think we're ready. Like ready, set, go.
I'm excited. I'm itching.
All right. So here we go. Let's have you divulge the 7 skills. Go ahead and take it away.
All right. So this is in no particular order, but a elite trainer needs to know how to conduct a movement assessment. They need to have the eyes to see mechanics, almost like they're watching it in slow motion. An elite trainer needs to know how to problem solve for musculoskeletal dysfunction, an MSD, basically, pain with movement that is not efficient or pure, that will eventually bring up either lack of performance at its least, but at its most, a debilitating injury that takes them out of fitness. A trainer needs to effectively motivate and communicate to all different client types and their personalities. We typically find that this personality of the coach is also the personality of the gym. And as a great coach would say, you are a chameleon to your athletes, and that you can connect to them the way that they need to be spoken to versus the way that you only know how to speak. So to me, that's a great coach. 4th thing, we need to bring a 5-star experience. Fitness is well known for at least a 2 or 3-star experience. This garage gym setup is, well, good for now, but bad for tomorrow. We need to make this an environment that people are excited to come to, where it's clean, it's sanitary, it's safe, and it's just like they're treated when they go to any sort of establishment that values the long-term application of the client versus just a short-term buck. So 5-star experience is a huge, huge thing. We also need to program sustainable workouts. Sustainable workouts means for the rest of their life, not just for a year or 6 months. Our program needs to be not only just sustainable, but it needs to be holistic. It needs to have restoration and performance built in, warm-ups and cool-downs applied every time, not just some of the time. The goal is not just to have a client you could, again, have for a few months, but again, for the rest of their lives. So the program has to match that. The 6th one is we need to massively tweak. We use the word tweak like modify. We need to tweak exercises to mitigate dysfunction in real time in a workout. And we can't solve for those things in a workout, but we must know biomechanics, applied biomechanics so well that we don't have to bench our clients in a workout by saying, oh, it's a jump rope. Oh, how about we just go do some push-ups? No. That's a completely different change to what your program intended. So we should be able to know how to tweak exercises enough to mitigate dysfunction in real time. And the last one, probably one of the most important ones, is we need to continually seek and learn new methods and strategies to incorporate. But first, we need to understand the principles of human movement. So basically, we have to have an open mindset, we have to be a growth mindset, and we have to be constantly be thinking there's more to be learned and more to be excelled at.
Okay, so let's just review the 7 really quickly. 1 was assessment, right? Movement assessment.
How to conduct a movement assessment.
All right, number 2, problem solve.
Problem solve for musculoskeletal dysfunctions.
Awesome. Number 3, effectively motivate.
And communicate. Yes.
Good. Number 4 is the 5-star experience.
Yep.
Okay. Number 6, sustainable workouts.
Yep.
Okay. 7, No.
No, 5 was
Five
sustainable
was
workout.
sustainable workouts.
Yep.
6 is being able to masterfully tweak workouts.
Exercises in a workout. Yep.
Okay, good. And the last one was seek and learn new methods.
Yep.
All right. So there's our 7. I know that all 7 are critical, but let's just take 3 and dive a little deeper into them. So which 3 would you like to select?
I'm going to have to start with needs to continually seek new methods and understanding, because without that one, none of them really make sense. So we're in an industry that is literally bubbling with new technology. We're also in an industry that loves to stick with what has always worked. And if you stick with what's always worked, that's going to be your kryptonite as a trainer. We are still stuck, unfortunately, in the hypertrophy bodybuilding method of training and conditioning. That fitness is looking good, but has very little to be actually moving good or performing efficiently in daily life activities. We got sport down pretty well, but that's like 0.01% of the population. So there's so much information coming out that unfortunately goes against a lot of scientific, quote unquote, medical journals, scientific rhetoric, or even what I even learned in my graduate studies and my undergraduate studies as an exercise scientist. And so it's so confusing, because what I was told from a professor is literally what I do not do today. So I had to actually unlearn my education, not all of it, but a good chunk of it, especially the biomechanics part, and then relearn how to do it effectively. But unfortunately, it's being frowned upon by that same community because it's not backed by an appropriate double-blind study with XXY. And so it's really interesting that our community is being slowed down out of fear of change, even though the change, its results are very obvious. So we have to be open-minded. Even if we don't believe it, we still have to essentially try it, because this fixed mindset understanding of our industry is, unfortunately, it would be its demise. We will change. I know it. So we have to be open-minded about new technologies of the human body.
I agree with you. I mean, that you see in any profession. What do they always say? If you're not, constantly changing, then you're behind.
Yeah, exactly. And so if we wait for a medical study to come out, the key word is we're waiting versus being proactive. And every industry goes through its evolutions. Every industry builds new technology. And it's very interesting that for some reason we've seemed like we've figured out the human body, which is, you ask anybody that off camera, quote unquote, and they'll say, no, of course not. But yet again, we're being hamstrung in our ability to test and achieve a greater level, because it doesn't fit in the framework that they must believe. And it's really interesting because it's a very egotistical thing. Like, they don't want to be ostracized. They want to be kicked out of the camp. They still want to put their findings in this journal, and it has to follow along the same pathway. And it's very interesting to step back and look at it and realize that capitalism will always win, in a sense. And I mean the good side of capitalism. Like, if we can profit from it and deliver transformational results that the client wants, I think that, wants and needs is very important, then that should also be looked at as intensely as the research, quote unquote. Hence why I said Elon Musk, because disruptive innovation, it's going to prove itself to be, I don't say the word correct, but better. There's no such thing as perfection, but pursuit of excellence is what we should all be thinking about as we continue to educate.
I always think the demise of a trainer, or really anybody in the fitness industry, is when the ego says, oh, I've been doing this for so long, I don't need to go to a conference, or I don't need to go to a workshop, or, I'm busy enough, the way that I do things works. And I just am always like, yeah, there is truth to that, but my gosh, there's just so much to learn. I mean, even your clients that you've been training for 10 years don't think they want to hear even just new vocabulary from you.
Exactly. And I've lived that. I know exactly. I've said that. I've actually said those exact words. I don't need to know anything more. And that right there is the most dogmatic trigger that you should ever have in your entire life. And once you say that, you should be scared. You should be really, really scared. And it's fascinating because at the very least, we should get results faster, more efficiently, less cost. What I really, really hope is that trainers don't become a slave to their trade. And that's really what kind of happens. Mm-hmm. They get burnt out, they don't get family time, they don't make enough money, or they have to work to make money. They have to physically be in front of somebody to make money. And their leverage is just not there. And that's why I believe there's very few career trainers. A lot of few yearsers, a lot of 10 yearsers, but it's a hobby job. And that will be changed.
I hope so. And I always say, listen, imagine if your physician says, I don't need to learn anything new. I know it all. You'd be a little nervous, right? We'd be like, I don't know,
Yeah.
All right. So I think we've got that one down pretty well. Good, positive, great, in-depth explanation of that one. What are you going to pick as your second one?
The second one we're going to go after is we need to program sustainable workouts. Again, if you follow the evolution of fitness, I kind of really started with bodybuilding. Now, Arnold Schwarzenegger is someone who I have on a poster on my wall. I don't want to discredit that. But that is purely non-sustainable. Isolating out joints in any machine, in any application, only accelerates the degradation of that machine. It's just that simple. And unfortunately, hypertrophy training, if though it does get muscles bigger, it doesn't necessarily provide them more function. It actually reduces function, meaning effective and efficient movement for life. That's what I mean by function. So our training has fallen into these two camps: get bigger muscles or burn calories, and kind of do that however you want to. And unfortunately, as we look at that, and I guess the third kind of triangle camp in this one is train like a professional athlete, which also professional athletics by definition is not a sustainable activity because we can't do that for life. So as we burn calories any way possible, that's great. I'm glad we're building relative health at the heart and the lungs, but what are the joints doing about that? And so as we jump up for hours, we're on a row machine, or on a treadmill, or doing Olympic lifting ad nauseum, we're missing what the body's critical application is. And it's multi-dimensional, meaning forward, back, side, rotate right, rotate left. And then also, it's intention-based. We move based upon how we intend, or what is our intention of our programming. And if we burn calories, we will do that. If we just want to build big muscles, we will do that. But what is the end result? And I'm not just talking about the end result in a year or in a month, but I'm talking about what's the end result in 10, 15, 20 years, 30 years, because we all have a life to our joints. And yes, we can replace some of them, but the replacements are never as good as our original parts. So with the program saying, I'm going to give it very detailed here, I don't think people should work out harder than 70, maybe 75% of their intensity for the majority of their life. If you want to go hard, like good 90, maybe even 100% once in a while, once a few weeks, of course, test your boundaries. But other than that, our life dictates how we train. But our training is way overburdening how we actually live life. And we actually I don't use the word destroy, but degrade ourselves much faster. And then we say, gosh, I can't work out anymore. My knees are too shot. Or my shoulders hurt too much. Or my lower back is getting something called my spine's collapsing. These use terms, right? It's our problem is with our training conditioning is just too low tech. So let's be smarter about it. Let's not work out harder. Let's work out smarter.
I'm really anxious, and I'm sure our listeners out there are really anxious to see, out of the ones that are left, what you're going to pick for your third one.
Probably the second most important under just learning, but we have to be able to solve for musculoskeletal dysfunction. The trainer of tomorrow needs to be a movement engineer. They need to be able to reverse engineer movement dysfunction and pain. Now, hear people saying, "Oh, that's what a chiropractor or physical therapist does." That's what they try to do, but unfortunately, the industry is falling short. I'm not saying individuals are falling short. There's amazing physical therapists and chiropractors out there. I know them, and I've studied underneath them, but the industry is falling short. The schooling, I've talked to many physical therapists coming right out of doctorate grad school, and I'm not impressed. I'm just, unfortunately, with their $100,000 of debt, I'm not impressed. It's sad. It actually is relatively sad that that's the knowledge that they come out with, because it's protocol based. Oh, you have a rotator cuff injury. Here's the protocol that you should do that fits the bell curve of our statistical evidence-based findings. Well, I'm sorry, you only tested a few thousand people, if that, more like a few hundred, and most people live outside of the bell curve. And so what are you going to do about when that internal rotation band exercise doesn't work? The problem-solving critical thinking is just underdeveloped. So we have to look at the body as a structural piece, like we look at a building. The foundation, the feet, super important. We have to understand how every single joint moves in all three planes of motion in systematized harmony of every other joint. Because we can't just focus on the hip and think it's all by itself. We can't just focus on the foot and think it's all by itself. Then we have to understand how the muscles move in all three planes of motion, not from just a strength building, but from a lengthening building aspect as well. And then we have to play into it how we actually think the biosocial or the behavioral science aspect of someone's mind and soul also heavily dominates their movement patterns. And if we can do that, which we can do that, I know it seems quite complicated and overwhelming. To some it is. To me it was. But now it's like, oh, wait a minute. There's literally systems of how our body works in this harmony. And you throw a little kind of throw a pebble into water, right? It starts to expand out. Our job is to reverse engineer and bring into the source of it. Because where your knee pain is, it's not where your knee pain's coming from. Unless someone hit you with a baseball bat in the knee. That's a different story. So movement-related injuries dominate our industry. And if we can't reverse engineer it by understanding not traditional biomechanics we learned in school, it's too simple, it's too mathematical, it's too simple. We have to understand the complexity of how every joint is connected together, and how all the things I've said previously fall into this dysfunction that could have been there for years. And we have to figure that out. It's really being a detective, truly. But you can't shut the system off. You can't just turn the engine off and replace a part. You got to do it while it's still alive and still moving. If we can do that as a greater industry, like I said, we will revolutionize health. We won't solve all problems by any means, but so many things stem from movement to exercise base. Yeah, it'd be crazy. Just think if diabetes was gone. It's gone. Strains, sprains, joint replacements decreased by 50%, 75%. Overweight, nutritional, obesity, not even an issue. Fitness doesn't solve for those things, but significantly helps. And most people don't exercise because it hurts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't agree with you more on that one. And, then we throw in the whole mental aspect of physical fitness and what it does for our mind as well as our body. And
absolutely, if not even more powerful.
Yeah, I just don't know how you just can't engage in that at least a few times a week, because it's so good for you.
Yeah, so what I would love to see is that all trainers, especially those who see themselves as, the top level, is that their programming, their facility, their mantra has to incorporate restoration. To call it therapy, I get it. There's an ethical side of this if you're licensed or not licensed, but restoration is a term we can all use. And if we don't provide that as a solution and option for our clients in every workout, or at least in your group of programming, then you're missing the biggest opportunity in this industry.
Great job, Michael, and thank you so much for coming on to the podcast. Personal trainers, any chance that I could get you to post on your social media page and tag us one tidbit that you took away from today's episode? Michael and I would love to see what you post. Now, what if you have a question for Michael? Well, head on over to our show notes, which can be found at fitnessbusinesspodcast.com. And hey, while you're there, click on that subscribe button so going forward, the show notes are emailed directly to you. In 30 seconds, I will introduce you to Andrea Bell, who will be next week's guest. Looking for a gym wipe that is gentle on fitness equipment but tough on eliminating germs? Look no further. Vapor Fresh gym wipes are specifically designed to be safe on all gym equipment. And the fact that they are the only plant-based disinfectant wipe on the market makes them the top choice. Vapor Fresh wipes come in 2 convenient sizes. The smaller canister is perfect for home gyms and boutique studios, and the jumbo refill roll fits perfectly into the dispensers. Vapor Fresh wipes, 100% happiness guaranteed.
Quickfire 5, sponsored by Hapana.
Please welcome Andrea Bell as our Quickfire 5 guest. I have with me today Andrea Bell. Andrea will be our guest next week. Andrea is the GHFA Advisory Council Chair, and she's also the co-founder and director of Inspire Brands Asia. Andrea, welcome to the Quickfire 5.
Thank you so much. Pleasure being here.
All right, the pleasure is all mine. Now, we have 4 fun questions, and then you get a chance to pitch your episode next week to all of our FBP family out there. So let's get started with the first one, and that is, what is one item that is on your bucket list?
Ooh, that's a difficult one, but it is sailing around the world with my family.
And is that going to happen? Are we making that happen?
Yes, we are. We are currently sitting on our yacht and we're making it happen. So, yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to have you come back on and tell us about it.
Yeah, there's a lot there.
All right, Andrea, whose business brain would you like to pick?
Brené Brown. I'd love to sit down with her and have a long chit chat.
Okay.
I love what she does.
Yeah. Can you tell our FBP family a little bit about what she does do?
So Brené Brown is a researcher and author, and she specifically works around getting people to be vulnerable and break out of their fears and to be brave and make changes. So I'm all about that.
Yeah, we're all about being brave. Fantastic. All right.
Yeah.
What would you say is the most visited page on your website?
I definitely have to say it's the franchise page. So we own the master franchisee rights to Anytime Fitness in Asia, and it's going to be that franchisee website or page.
Okay, good pick. And how about a book? We'd love for you to recommend one of your favorite books to all of our FBP family.
Definitely read Daring Greatly and Dare to Lead by Brené Brown. They are my absolute favorites. And if you want to just be a better leader of your people, be a better person in terms of breaking free from your fears and really help out your family as well, it's amazing books.
Good. Thank you. I don't think we've had that one on our Quickfire 5 before, so that's a good one.
Perfect.
Okay, so now I'm going to hand the mic over to you, Andrea, and I'm going to say what will be one moment of next week's episode.
I love what I'm doing with the GHFA. I'm so into it. I stopped being the chief people officer for Anytime Fitness in March, so I can focus on that. But meanwhile, I've also been trying to pack up our house, sell our whole furniture, move the family onto a yacht. And last night I realized, I have way too many clothes still, and it does not fit in the small cupboard. So I'm a little distracted by now having to ditch more of my clothes.
All right, everybody. Come back next week as Andrea Bell is our industry expert, and she's going to go over the Global Health and Fitness Alliance. If you like numbers, stats, and data, then next week's episode will pique your interest. As chair of the GHFA, Andrea dives into the Deloitte report and shares just how powerful the results are. Andrea wants to get the message out about GHFA and all of the good that this council of less than 10 is doing, but they need help spreading the word. Take 30 minutes out of your week and join us for another educational episode from the Fitness Business Podcast. Just so you don't forget about the episode, I encourage you to subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast player, or even better yet, let us do the work for you and we'll send you the show. Subscribe to the show at fitnessbusinesspodcast.com. Thank you to our founding partner, Active Management, our partners, Keep Me, My Zone, Discover Strength, ISSA, and Hapana, as well as our advertisers, Rex Roundtables, MX Metrics, and Vaporfresh. We believe what you leave behind is not what's engraved in stone monuments, but woven into the lives of others.